So as we think about some of the things that you've had to say that you anticipate to be emerging in the future, some natural trends that have already begun,
Yeah.
what sort of advice would you give to students, actionable advice, that they can start doing now,
Yep.
position themselves to be in this career field? And when I think about it, I think of it coming in three forms. There's knowledge sets. So what sort of knowledge might they need to become very familiar and garner? Second would be skill sets, more competencies that they might need to focus on. And then the last, perhaps the most challenging at this particular point in time, is just experiences. What sort of experiences might they focus on trying to get and prepare themselves for the future?
Well, let's start with, I think it's important for students to think about the roles in the industries where you expect high growth. One of the reasons I picked technology as my goal, right, for my career is because technology is constantly changing. There's always an element of technology that's growing. You might be on the downslope of some of the technologies, but then there's typically an upslope. And so look for high growth industries, particularly as you look out and you see these changes in COVID. Virtually anything, any aspect of any industry is undergoing fairly major transformation when we talk about digitalization, whether that's, as we've talked about, shopping, digital commerce, digital payments, digital banking, digital healthcare, all these things, education, remote learning, all of these things are really going under a major transformation, not only because of COVID, that is accelerating it. So, I think many people start with, and certainly I did, sort of a view of what their interests are. And I'd say, evaluate your interests and see if they line up generally to an industry which you think is going to have high growth, because high growth means more jobs, means more opportunities to change. So that's the first thing that I always advise. The second thing that I advise is try a lot of different things when you're young. So one of the things about my background is that first of all, I did a ton of informational interviews. And even though I really wanted to go into technology, I did informational interviews at a electric power company. I did it at banks. I did it all over. And it really helped me understand what things I felt like I would be most interested in, what kind of environment I would be most interested in. So I think it's really important to just try to talk to as many people in the industry as possible, particularly ones that you think you might have interest in. And then, as I was saying, I would try a lot of things when you're young. And what I mean by that is don't verticalize too soon. Unless you're one of those rare individuals, and there are folks like this who come out and say, I want to be a biology scientist studying, a particular disease. And they're just always been focused on that, and that's what they want to do. Most people, I certainly was not one of those people. I had a wide range of jobs that I did before I found one that I loved, which really involved the internet. And once I started working sort of in the internet and the e-commerce area, I was like, wow, this is awesome. And so I've been doing that now for more than 20 years. But I think it's really important to try different things. It's not so important, in my view, that you land your first job as the job that you think is going to be perfect. It's more important that you land a job where you're going to learn. You're going to have, good visibility at all the many different roles in the company, and that you gain experiences by doing these roles, and then being very thoughtful about, what do I love about this role? What do I not love about this role? Because I do have adult children, and my guidance to them is always, your job is to find a job that you love, because you're going to do it for a long time. And so don't worry so much about the job title. Don't worry so much about the salary if you can afford it. Worry about, is this a role that you're going to learn in every day, that you're going to love, and that you're going to go on and try to experience new things around. And so those are, So it's hard for me to say a specific skill set, because as I look at the industries that are changing, they all need all types of skill sets. I mean, we need great human resources people, right? Which is a very different skill set than being in our finance team, which requires much more analytics. But what I counsel is, many of you will have, an indication like, yeah, I'm okay sitting behind a spreadsheet all day. And there are some people like my older son, like, no way, not going to do that. And so you have to realize what your own strengths, your own interests are, and then funnel those into trying to get internships, trying to get experiences. I don't think there's a one size fits all by any stretch of the imagination.
We've been speaking with Jennifer Bailey, Vice President of Internet Services at Apple. Thank you so much for your career field perspectives.
Great to be here. Thank you, Jeff.